Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what we're doing today?
Well, first of all, we're back.
We're back!
Baby! And we apologize for being gone. There has been some things that couldn't be avoided. So
death in the family, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. House sitting, cats. I clean cat barf.
That's fun. That's fun.
That was not fun.
No, it's not.
Because it wasn't even my fucking cat. Anyways, go on.
Right, yeah. So, we're doing a special today.
We are.
And we're doing it live on Discord right now.
Tuesdays at 10, baby.
Yeah, be there or don't, be there. But,
right.
We'd prefer you be there. So
obviously.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible for people to be a square. But, I mean, people say that. I just don't,
Well, I think a square, they mean, you're not cool.
I know what they mean.
Well,
It's just such a weird phrase, though.
Nobody ever told me what, you're such a square.
Right?
But I figured it out. It's a double L. It's a double L. You put them.
Oh.
You're a double loser.
Wow.
Right?
I just found that out just now.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was what that was.
Right?
Huh.
I was like, I only found that out a year ago.
Wow. Is that for real, the origin of that?
I have no idea, but I like it.
I mean,
I just wish I would have known it.
Sounds legitimate, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, I question it a bit, but it sounds like it could have been the case. Mm-hmm. I just never heard anybody explain it before.
No, me neither.
So anyway,
don't be a square.
We're not talking about being a square.
Don't be double loser.
Right, but we're talking about...
Oh, we're talking about prophets versus priests, because a while ago, we had talked about, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was a priest but not a prophet, or a prophet but not a priest, and I can't remember which was which. And we were like, what? I thought all prophets were priests, and we were confused about it. And that little nugget stayed in the back of my mind, and I was like, we have got to figure this out.
Right.
And so that's what we're talking about today.
Prophets versus priests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you ready to do this?
I am. Are you?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right, so let's talk about prophets and priests and if they are both the same or not the same, or one is the other. And
yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So listen to this.
I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate. If you want to just stop after this sentence, you don't even have to listen to the rest, because here's the story. Ready?
Yeah.
Not all prophets were priests, and not all priests were prophets. Okay, that's the TLDR.
Yeah.
But I have more shit to say, so
obviously.
Are you interested in hearing?
Do I have a choice?
We all have choices.
No, I'm just saying. I'm the other half of the podcast here. I don't think I have. I don't get a say in that.
Well, I'm not holding you.
Yes, I absolutely want to hear the rest.
Okay. So, priests and prophets, right? They're distinct roles, though occasionally one person might hold both roles. It's completely separate. Okay.
All right.
Being a prophet means speaking for God to the people. Okay?
Sure.
So your directions are coming from God, right?
Got it.
Being a priest means acting for the people before God.
Okay. All right.
And their instructions come from the leadership.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they're complementary roles that sometimes overlap, but they are not the same.
Well, and I may remember this wrong, but I feel like I remember early on talking about some of the prophets that came from families that were part of the priest class.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
That's
All
some
right.
of the extra stuff that I brought to the table here.
Got it.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's just do a little more differentiation, okay, just to make it more clear.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So prophets, okay, their authority comes from a divine calling. God chooses the prophets directly. Okay?
Yeah.
Their roles are not inherited or tied to a tribe or to lineage. Okay?
Now,
anybody can be a prophet.
Now you say chosen by God, and I'm hearing chosen by rich families who are part of higher class society.
Not always.
Okay.
Not always.
All right.
Not all prophets are rich people.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's people who either feel called by God or really want people to believe that they feel that they're called by God.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
They often emerge unexpectedly, even from unlikely backgrounds. Again, not always rich.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
They're often outsiders or critics of the political setup, which will include the priests.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Their sphere of work is the public square, the wilderness, or the courts.
Okay.
They are a spokesperson for God. They deliver messages that are often urgent or corrective.
Do they hide they do some of the work in their woods? Do they hide behind trees and just pop out and be like, God said, and just like surprise people on the road?
Maybe. I wasn't there.
I feel like that'd be fun.
That would be like, we should just be like, dude, guess what? I'm a prophet.
Right, and just jump out from the woods at people and see how that goes.
I don't want to live in the woods though.
We don't have to live there. You just spend like an hour or two there,
there's some woods in the park right there by us.
There are.
So we could still live in our house, but
Yeah,
then
just
during
go
the
over there
day,
every once in a while and just pop
and
out of
then
the woods.
when people are like walking because there's walking trails over there through the woods.
And then when people get mad, you're like, I'm just profiting here, man.
Like, I'm a prophet.
Yeah.
Didn't you want your prophecy?
Right.
You want to hear?
Damn.
Like, I'll give you a penny if you want to stick
But
around.
instead of saying God's word, we should just read fortune cookie sayings.
But the good ones. Oh my God, we had dinner at my parents' house tonight, and they get Chinese food place from a place that still does good fortunes in their fortune cookies. Like,
I mean, they weren't terrible.
they were good.
Okay.
Mine said that on Tuesday your what was it? Your goals and dreams will get clarity or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
kids said tomorrow you'll get something that gets you rich.
Only, yeah.
Like something like that. I don't remember what
Right.
it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, those are good. Those are fortunes. Like the kind that we get from the place that we go, the last several places that we've gone, we thought that like fortune cookies, like they don't do them good anymore.
Right.
Because they're like, people breathe oxygen. You should breathe more.
Right.
Or some shit like that. Like, here's a fact. Tuck it in.
Right.
Like, no shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even a fortune.
No, that's not a
Like,
fortune.
Get out of here with that shit.
Yeah, I don't want that.
You can't call yourself a fortune cookie if you don't have a fortune.
I want the ones that say, things are going to be great, or watch out for Thursday, bad shit's going to come.
Right.
Might as well stay home. Don't get out of bed that day. And then when you call into work, you could be like, but my fortune cookie told me so.
Yeah. Wasn't there something about Tuesdays on one of them?
Literally, that's what I
you
said mine was.
I'm so sorry.
Mine said that on Tuesday, I will get clarity
Oh, that's
about
right,
a
that's
dream
right.
or a goal.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're an idiot.
right.
You don't pay attention to me at all.
I was thinking ahead and never mind.
Okay, you're not an idiot. You just don't pay attention to me.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
All right. So anyways, back to prophets, which we're not, but we could be if we wanted to.
Sure.
They may foretell the future, but they more often are about calling people back to covenant faithfulness.
Okay.
Okay. They often call people to repent. Repent,
We've
repent.
heard that. We heard that quite a bit.
Quite a bit. They can challenge kings, priests, or the people. And we're going to hear about those.
They can. You don't always know how it's going to go, though, I would imagine.
They do some of that shit. And we're going to hear about it.
But we don't hear about the ones that challenged and failed because they probably lost a head or something.
They did not get a book written about them. They often, quote unquote, receive visions, dreams, or divine encounters.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Depends who you ask.
Right.
Like, I could say that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that was the prophets. Now let's talk about the priests. Okay. Their authority comes from their tribal lineage. They must be from the tribe of Levi, specifically the family of Aaron, right?
Which
Moses' brother.
It's a little tossed around later in the Old Testament.
It does.
But,
and we're going to hear about one guy who is like, he wasn't from this family, but he is like, he functioned as
right.
a prophet.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like he's like grandfathered in. Their office is hereditary. They have to be sons of priests to become priests.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Which, I mean, that makes sense. Tribal lineage, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. They are institutional insiders. So remember with the prophets, I said that they often are outsiders that criticize the institution.
Right.
These are the institutional insiders.
But I distinctly also remember hearing many of the prophets criticize other prophets or so-called prophets at the time, at the very least.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I said. They
There I go, not listening again.
Right. They challenge false prophits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Their sphere of work is the temple or the tabernacle. Okay.
Okay.
So they are inside. They are in the office. You know.
Yeah.
They're in the building. Okay. Yeah. So that's the difference between the two.
Got it.
With priests, their role is to perform rituals, sacrifices, and temple duties. They teach and interpret the law, the Torah.
Sure.
They oversee cleanliness, festivals, and religious order.
Okay.
And they act as an intermediary between the people and God in a liturgical sense.
Got it.
So, you know, they're like what you think of a priest, you know?
Right.
You don't talk to God directly. You can ask the priest to talk to God or be like, what do you think God thinks about this?
Sure. But I never really understood that whole, like, to me, the role of a priest or preacher or whatever, when you talk to them as an avenue to talk to God, which I hear a lot from people, always seemed a little weird to me. Like, if you're not talking to them, then I'm just taking your word for it still. You know what I'm saying? Like, God's not.
It's supposed to be that these spiritual leaders have a closer relationship with God. Like, you know, if you take them at their word, right?
Sure.
They have a closer relationship with God. So you're not necessarily asking them, hey, can you tell God that I said XYZ? You're saying, hey, I'm having a hard time understanding this situation and I don't know what God wants me to do. Or I can't hear the message that God is giving me. Or I don't understand why God would want XYZ.
I guess my point is that if there's prophets and priests, and prophets claim to talk directly to God, why would you ever fucking question or ask the priest?
Prophets don't claim to talk to God. Prophets claim that they get messages from gods.
Okay.
Whereas the priests also don't claim to talk to God. They claim to understand based on their lineage. They claim to understand what God wants people to do.
Got it.
Sometimes they're corrupt and sometimes they're not.
I'd say they're more likely corrupt
Probably.
than not, but yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But the majority of them, none of them, either or, claim to talk to God. They either claim to hear God or to understand God.
Sure.
Or to get visions from God. It's definitely a one-way conversation.
Yeah.
Okay?
And anybody that claims an imaginary being as something that requires other people to give them money and or goods, to me is a scam artist.
Definitely a grifter.
But I'm just, that's my general rule of thumb.
Yeah. But there were some that were both priest and prophet. Okay?
Yeah.
Like priest or prophet. And the answer is, why not both? Right?
Sure.
And so here's a list of the major and minor prophets in the Hebrew Bible who were either definitely, probably, or maybe priests and prophets.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or it's the major and minor prophets who definitely, maybe, and might have been priests.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Jeremiah, for sure, he was definitely a prophet and a priest.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
He was from a priestly family in Anathoth.
Okay.
Okay? And that was in Jeremiah chapter 1.
Got it.
Okay? Ezekiel, definitely for sure, a prophet and a priest.
Okay.
And he was explicitly called a priest in exile in the book of Ezekiel.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Zechariah, likely a priest. He's identified as the son of Berechiah, son of Iddo, who was a known priestly family.
Got it.
Okay, so he probably was.
Okay.
Like, we just about assume he was. Different people argue about it, maybe, like, for argument's sake.
Sure.
Like, prove it. Like, I want to know this for sure. Like, what makes you think that? And are you positive?
Yeah.
None of us can be positive. But it is up for debate. But most of us agree, yeah, it's very likely he was.
Right. Right.
And by us, I don't mean me.
Right. Yeah. No,
Because I am not a scholar and I don't talk with those people. Samuel, he's the one that I was telling you about. He was functionally a priest. He was definitely a prophet.
Okay.
But he was not a literary prophet. And I was like, what's a literary prophet versus a prophet?
Sure.
Do you know?
I would assume that a literary prophet actually has read and understood the Torah.
False.
Oh, okay.
That's not what a literary prophet is.
Well,
So-
I'm wrong.
Right. A literary prophet has a book named after him. And I'm like, wait, Samuel not only has one book, he's got 2 books named after him, 1st and 2nd Samuel.
Yeah.
But
And he's got the good hair.
he does have the good hair, Samuel with the good hair. But he is not telling the story in first person of his prophecies. Those were written by other people about him. And the books were about the histories of the people. I think Judah.
Okay.
Judea. Okay?
All right.
So that's why he is not considered a literary prophet.
Got it.
He is a prophet, but not a literary prophet. Because he's not telling the story himself. He's not being like, here was like all these prophecies I had.
He had a lot of upkeep with that hair. You know, like
he did. He was busy.
Grooming rituals kept him busy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he is functionally listed as a priest because he was raised in the temple and he performed priestly duties. But technically he was from the tribe of Ephraim, not Levi.
Oh.
So
okay.
He wasn't actually legitimately a priest, but
he functioned as one.
He functioned as one and therefore belonged kind of in this category.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So those are the yes, definitely, 1 likely, and 1 functionally.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've got some possibly. Who knows? Okay. Isaiah, possibly. Tradition says he was of royal or priestly lineage, but not explicitly stated.
Right.
So definitely a prophet. Don't know if he was.
Wasn't he the one that they said like he was born a prophet or something like that? Or there was one of them that was like God knew him before he came.
I don't think it was Isaiah.
Okay.
Like in the womb, from the womb.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who that was, but
I have that coming up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get there.
No,
I don't remember, but yeah, from the womb.
Got it.
I think that was Nehemiah. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, Joel, possibly a prophet. Okay, we don't know. Writings have strong temple themes, but no lineage is stated,
Got
so
it.
we don't know. Okay, another.
We haven't done Joel yet, have we?
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
Wow. I forgot about Joel.
Billy Joel.
I guess. I don't even recall doing that.
Habakkuk. Habakkuk.
Okay.
He's a prophet, right? These are all prophets I'm naming. He was possibly a priest. Temple themes, but no personal details given.
Got it.
So don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And Zephaniah, definitely a prophet. Was he a priest? Possibly. We don't know. He was of royal descent, but no priesthood is mentioned. So
Okay. All right. Yep.
And then there's Obadiah and Malachi. We have no idea. We're like, I don't even fucking know.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the other ones were like possibly because, but we don't know. These ones are like, yeah, we don't know anything about their background. Obadiah, nothing.
Got it.
Malachi, nothing. His name means my messenger, but that could possibly be a title, not a person's name. And no background is given about him. So we don't fucking know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Sure.
All right. So prophet versus priest.
Yeah,
Ready?
I'm ready.
Like for real verses.
For real verses.
Yeah. Prophets and priests frequently butted heads when their roles were at odds. Prophets were often anti-institutional watchdogs. They were the original whistleblowers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although, having just reread what I wrote, I'm going to take umbrage with what I wrote because you'd have to be on the inside to be a whistleblower. That's a poor use of that phrase.
But if you're an Israelite, aren't you kind of on the inside anyway? Because, it's all God's people.
Not the institution.
Right, not the institution.
Leadership is what I'm talking about.
No, I got it.
So, no. But they were anti-institutional.
Did they have rap battles, though?
The tension between prophets and priests shows up all over the Hebrew Bible, and it reveals deep institutional conflicts between divine authority and religious hierarchy.
Okay.
These weren't just squabbles.
Got it. Yeah.
They were for realsies.
Yeah.
They were spiritual turf wars, rap battles, if you will. And they were over who really spoke for God. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah. Sometimes there were clapbacks. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had Jeremiah versus Pashur. Do you remember this at all?
This really needs to be a series. Like the priests versus prophets, like TikTok, short video, like something. I can see it's forming in my head right now.
Yeah. So Pashur, a priest and chief officer in the temple, has Jeremiah beaten and put in stocks for prophesying doom for Jerusalem.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Jeremiah claps back by renaming him Terror on Every Side. You suck. You're terror on every side.
It's a terrible name.
I know. He predicts his exile and death. And this is one of the most explicit showdowns. A prophet publicly humiliating a high-ranking priest.
Yeah.
Like, he gave him what for, and he told him, you are so ugly, you're terror on every side. Like, I'm trying to make it work, and I just can't.
Right, yeah.
I fucked your mother, and you are terror on every side.
Right.
No, it just doesn't.
No.
Yeah. You so ugly, you terror on every side. No, it just doesn't work. Okay, so moving on. Amos versus Amaziah.
Okay.
Amaziah, the priest of Bethel, a royal sanctuary in the northern kingdom, tries to silence Amos by reporting him to King Jeroboam II, telling Amos to go, quote, go prophecy in Judah.
Yeah.
Like, get lost, get out of here, go up there. Amos famously replies that he's no professional prophet, he's just a shepherd boy called by God.
Yeah.
He's from a poor family. Nobody loves him. Then he tells Amaziah, guess what? Your wife's going to become a prostitute and your children will die. Fuck off.
I remember that. It was more of a commentary about Israel than it was about his actual wife, although the story was very much his wife, it was questionable. But
that is a much better clapback than your name is now terror on every side. Right. Your wife's a whore and your kids are going to die.
Yeah, no, that's a much bigger, stronger put down there, for sure.
And this is a great example of an outsider calling out religious and political corruption, a clear critique of the religious establishment profiting from power.
Okay. All right.
So then we've got, those were the two examples of like face-to-face head off.
Right.
Okay. The rest of these are the one prophet against the institution as a whole. Okay. So we've got Micah versus the corrupt clergy. And we haven't read Micah yet.
Right.
That's the next one. Yeah. But I am going to read this because it fits. Okay.
Sure.
Micah accuses Jerusalem's leaders. Its heads give judgment for a bribe. Its priests teach for a price. Its prophets divine or give oracles for money.
I don't know that the priests ever didn't teach for profit.
Right.
They have always been given, first choice on.
But they're upping is
sure.
Is
no,
thing.
I got it. I got it.
And the leaders give judgment for a bribe, and then the prophets are like, I'll tell you if it's going to rain on Tuesday if you suck my dick, or whatever the going currency is.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, remember several weeks ago, I couldn't think of the word and I said denomination and you were like, that's not the word. You're using the wrong word.
Yeah.
Currency. That's That's the word that I wanted. I literally woke up the other night at my mom's house. I like sat straight up and I go, currency.
Yeah.
That's the correct word.
Okay. I don't even remember what we were talking about exactly.
It's probably last Tuesday, but
yeah.
I was talking about cigarettes being the going currency in jail. And I don't remember why.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what it was in reference to.
Yeah.
But I did say it. And I said it's the denomination. And I could not remember the fucking word I wanted. Was
this in an actual podcast? Or
yes.
Was this like just on the okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So now look at that. Circle back around.
I'm sure it was.
Back.
I can't remember exactly what we were talking about.
Somebody out there remembers. Brady probably remembers.
Right.
And so there it is. Okay?
Yeah.
Currency.
We already did Micah. It's Malachi that's next.
God damn it. They both start with M and I can never remember them. Yeah. I apologize. They both start with M. I knew I was going to do that too. I was like,
well,
wait.
Had a call out from our Discord on that one. So
I really appreciate you guys. and this is why you should join our Discord Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern.
You can keep us on our toes.
Because I'm an idiot. I'm a potato head. Okay, yeah. So currency. And also, we already did Micah. Okay. Anyway, so Micah goes on to say that Zion will be plowed like a field and the temple will become a heap of ruins. His message suggests that religious corruption was rampant. Like, no shit. He lumps priests and false prophets together, see, false prophets, as an immoral religious elite, marking this as real fire and brimstone activism. Okay? Yeah. He's like, y'all suck. This ain't good.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So he, Micah versus corrupt clergy. Okay?
Yeah.
Remember that one time a few weeks ago when I said clergy and Fern was like, did you really just say clergy? And I'm like, goddamn right I did. Because I don't know words. Okay. So now we get Ezekiel versus shepherds of Israel. It's basically priests versus leaders.
Got it. Yeah.
Priests and leaders are the shepherds of Israel. Is what I meant to say. Not priests versus leaders, priests and leaders.
Right.
Okay. So the priests and leaders are shepherds who feed themselves instead of the flock. Womp womp.
Yeah.
God says through Ezekiel, I am against the shepherds. I will rescue my sheep from their mouths. And though directed broadly at the leadership, this includes priests who failed in their duty to protect and guide the people spiritually.
Got it.
Okay. Ezekiel is laying into spiritual leadership that abused trust. Not just individuals, but entire systems. So he's like mad at the whole enchilada, the whole group of them. Okay. And then now we get to Malachi versus the priests. And this is the one I was like, we haven't read this guy yet. Yeah. Sorry. We did read Micah. We haven't read Malachi.
Okay.
Because that is the last book that we haven't got to. But they both start with M. So I'll never remember ever. I'll never, ever remember Micah from Malachi. Ever. I can't help it. They both start with M.
Hopefully you can at least keep it in mind when we're reading Malachi. As
long as the name is there in the reading that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll have to, write it somewhere. I'll have to have a sticky note. Which book am I in again?
Right. Yeah.
I cannot keep the... You know what? I still think that... God damn it. If I can think of one actor's name, I can't think of the other one. Dustin Hoffman is one, and shit. Richard Dreyfuss. That's the other one. I cannot tell them apart. I don't know their name, one or the other. If you tell me...
you said that to me before, and I'm like,
I know.
How do you not...
It's not my fault. It's my brain. My brain is like, nope, those are the same. Those are both banana popsicles.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. They both look the same. They're interchangeable to me.
Yeah.
I can't help it. There's another guy that fits that category too, and I can't remember which one it is. But if you said it, I would know it.
Sure.
But it's one of those older white guys. And it's not...
That narrows it down.
Who's that fucking Western guy? He's in all the old Westerns.
You're talking about Gene Hoffman?
No. Cliff. What's his name?
Not Gene Hoffman.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck you're talking
I
about.
don't-
Stop guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy that's known... No, he's not known for old Westerns. He's known for one specific Western.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm talking about a guy whose fucking legacy
Clint
is...
Eastwood.
Clint, not Cliff. Yeah, Clint Eastwood. He is not the one I was thinking of.
That was very... You were very angry at me about...
I was because fucking no. No, that is not a guy known for Westerns. Why would you say that?
you can't even tell the difference between Micah and Malachi.
I know, but... All right, that's a fair argument. That was a really good comeback. You're right. I have no business judging you when I'm the bigger idiot here. Okay, Malachi, who we have not read yet, versus priests.
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
The priests are offering blemished sacrifices, disrespecting God, and causing people to stumble with bad teaching. So Malachi puts the entire fucking priesthood on blast. He's like, all y'all suck.
Okay.
Again, it's not one rogue priest. Malachi's calling out the entire institution. I took out some of the spoilers.
Okay.
Because
spoilers.
we haven't read it yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
So I don't even, like, this is in order. I don't know why I said that about Micah when Malachi is further down the page, but it starts with an M. It's Richard Hoffman. Fucking goddamn it. Richard Dreyfuss. Oh my god. I deserve to be taken outside and shot. Oh, you guys. I'm sorry. It's been a time.
It has.
Whew, this is me at my best. All right. The last one I have here for an example is Samuel versus King Saul. Okay?
Yeah. I had
And
to stop myself from saying L. Jackson, but
Samuel L. Jackson.
just the way you said it.
I know. Oh my god. Okay. Speaking of Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, okay. So were there snakes on the plane?
No, even better. He reads aloud this book called Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a play on Goodnight Moon.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, it is the fucking best.
You can't buy the book, you have to buy the audio.
Yeah, because he reads it.
There's no fucking point in getting the book.
Right.
You buy the audio.
Yeah, to hear Samuel L. Jackson reading Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Yeah.
And we listened to it on Alexa, so I want to say...
This was years ago, yeah.
Yeah. How did we do that? Like, was it free or something? Was it like a thing that Alexa does?
We purchased it.
Did we?
And then we purchased the audiobook and then it was available.
Was it through Audible or something?
Probably. Yeah, I don't know.
But it wasn't expensive. I do know that. It was only like $1.99 or some shit because it's a kid's book.
Right. And to hear Samuel L. Jackson read it.
Oh my God. You guys.
Worth it.
You have got to do it. If you have not heard Samuel L. Jackson read Go the Fuck to Sleep, you are missing out on life.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's so funny and stupid. I love it. Okay. So not Samuel L. Jackson, just Samuel with the good hair.
Yeah.
Versus King Saul. Though not a Levite, Samuel judges, prophesies, and performs sacrifices. He rebukes King Saul for offering sacrifices without priestly authority. So in one sense, Samuel becomes a check on both priesthood and monarchy.
But how much credit can we give the guy if he doesn't actually, meet the criteria of God's, chosen people?
Sorry, you were born in the wrong family. Fuck off.
Right, yeah. He doesn't count.
Anytime I see...
The hair only gets you so far.
Anytime I see somebody say that they put a check on somebody, all I can think is check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3. Check, baby, 1, 2. Check, baby. And then, the song. All I want to do is zoom, a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Just shake your bum.
I think we fucked up. Is it Samson? It's Samson with the good hair.
Oh, shit.
Thank you.
Oh, God damn it. We're such bad Bible readers.
This is a bad episode.
It's so
We're fucking
bad.
up so much.
That's why it's a bonus. It's not just me at my best, it's us at our best. This is the shit y'all come for.
I could have sworn it was Samuel. I guess not so much.
Well, I take it back then.
No, I mean,
everything I said about
as soon as
him.
it was written, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it was.
My bad.
Right.
Somehow that feels like it killed all the joy in the room.
Maybe just a little bit. That's all right. We'll get it back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I reached the conclusion.
Oh,
and you know how
joy all around.
It says conclusion at the top.
Yeah, I see that.
I wrote that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Priests and prophets represented different directions of communication. A priest offered sacrifices and intercession, not intersection, and not sex, certainly. A priest offered sacrifices and intercession up to God on behalf of the people, whereas a prophet delivered messages down from God to the people.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
If the temple is a two-way radio, the priest is pressing send while the prophet is pressing receive.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Except that not really, because the priest is not really talking to God.
Right.
So that's a bad example now that I think about it. I really fucked this up like all the way through.
Well, but there's a lot of people that claim that priests do talk to God. They just,
I don't know about
and
that.
there was even a point where, what was it? There was that priest in, back when Moses was around, I think, when they had their baby and then they put in they did a prayer to God, and I don't know. But there was definitely mention of the priests being able to talk to God at some points in the Bible.
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
It was Moses. It was
But I have no memory.
It wasn't Moses, but it was like there was a lady that was able to have a baby because she prayed to God in front of the priest, and I don't remember exactly how the story went, but it's a famous.
That was one of those Elisha, wasn't it?
I don't recall.
I think it was one of the Elijahs.
Anyway, God let she did a prayer, and then it went up to God, and then she got her baby.
Okay,
that's all.
You know
that's
what?
all I was getting at.
I would have to care so much more to remember all this stuff, and I want to care. I really do, but the fact of the matter is I don't. And it's not that I don't care about the podcast, and it's not that I don't care about history, and it's not that I don't care about the people that listen. Those are all my favorite things about what we do. But the people in the Bible themselves,
I think it would help us care about the whole, who this person was, who that person was, if there wasn't so much bullshit intermixed throughout the whole Bible.
Maybe.
Like that you
maybe if Christianity wasn't so stupid, I would care more. when I just have no incentive.
It's just you can only hear about God mass murdering people so many times before you start being like, this guy's not a good. If he were real, I don't want anything to do with him.
Okay, but
and so therefore I don't really care about the people that talk for him or talk about him.
But here's another thing. I don't even try because honestly, I don't even remember stuff that I actually truly do care about. I don't remember a lot of stuff. Remember the time when this was just last week, we scheduled a dinner at your mom's on the same day at the exact fucking same time.
Yes.
As a live Discord on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I don't remember stuff that actually impacts my day-to-day life. And the names of these people just don't. So
right, it's the stories that are supposed to be the stories should hold. The people don't really matter, right? Samuel and Jeremiah and Isaiah, these people are all dead and long gone, right? Yeah. So the stories are what are supposed to hold weight for us and mean something to us in the present, right?
Supposedly.
If we're taking spirituality,
if we're Jewish
at
or
face
Christian,
value and all these things,
sure.
Right? Except the stories themselves are terrible.
They're stupid
they're
or
not
bad.
Good, and they're not if I were to define what I thought holy was before we started reading this Bible, mm-hmm. It's not what I've read in the Old Testament.
Right.
That's not what I imagined holy or godly or religion in general to be.
Right.
It's just not. It's fucking terrible human beings doing terrible things to each other in the name of a god.
And land.
Right. And
honestly, it's a land grab.
At that point, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I retain more because I'm like, just because I'm able to listen. You're reading, so like I'm able to pick up on some things, but I still do a terrible job.
But you have a better memory than I do anyway. So if we were both sitting down to try, like you would automatically remember more than me because your retention is better.
Sure.
I don't have retention. My point is, I don't have retention even when I care. So can you imagine if I fucking don't?
Right.
That's all I mean.
Right. And let's be honest. I mean, you and I have talked about this. I don't think that our with regard to this podcast, I don't think that our journey through the Bible will even be complete after we finish the Bible.
Oh no.
There's just so much to dig into. Mm-hmm. There's so many little nuanced things to go back through, and there's so many different ways to look at that through historical lenses, through different, just different ways to look at all this stuff that you can study this the rest of your life and never really learn it all.
You know what really, like, I'm kind of stuck because I know after we finish the traditional Old Testament, we're going to do some of the other stuff like the Maccabees and shit like that should have been included in the Old Testament, or that
the Apocrypha.
Yeah, that the Catholics or the whatever other groups like that they do include, but that standard Christians don't for whatever reason. Blah blah blah.
Right.
So as soon as we finish all that, then we're supposed to like go into the New Testament. Like, I'm so uninterested in the New Testament because like Christianity just pisses me off so much that I kind of wish, like, I've already been going through and taking notes on, but if I reread the Old Testament like in order chronologically rather than in the order that the books are listed, like how would that look? And what would those notes look like? And knowing what I know now, like how would those conversations go? I'm like, that's the project that I want to do, but we have to do the New Testament and read about Jesus.
Well, but I mean, I think that this is we need that once over.
No, we do.
Before we can go back through and dig in more.
No, I know. I'm just telling you, like, yes, I want to do this project. I want to be able to say, no, I fucking read the whole Bible. So yes, that is the plan. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there is a part of me that's like already eager to go back and redo this, but from a different way.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
Like you said, we'll never be done with this because there's just always so much other stuff that we can do.
Yeah.
Other ways that we can fuck it up.
Oh, yeah.
Countless ways that wife can be stupid. Okay, but we were at the conclusion, so let's get back to this.
Yeah.
Okay, so another way to think about this is that prophets are equivalent to conscience, and the priests represent institution.
Okay.
I think that is being a very... from a prophet's perspective, maybe like we're the good ones. The priests are just like, the ones appointed by men to support men for men. Whereas the prophets,
but the Levites themselves were appointed by God, according to the Bible.
Yeah.
So the priests were appointed by God. The prophets weren't appointed by anybody but themselves because they're talking, or because God is talking to them.
They say that God is calling them.
Right, but that doesn't mean I would think they're sane, let alone a prophet. You know, in at least in today's context. So I don't understand why that. So makes,
basically, it's kind of like old money versus new money. It's the rich eating the rich, and it's both sides of bad. It's somebody outside criticizing the institution, and they may be criticizing the institution because the institution is corrupt, or they may be criticizing it because the mouth on the outside is corrupt. Sure. Like, you don't know.
Or in Ezekiel's case, you just had a bad acid trip.
I mean, that's true. That's true. So, I don't know. I feel like they all suck, basically.
Sure.
But when the priesthood strayed into power-hungry, ritual-for-profit territory, the prophets were called by God to call them back is supposedly what we're supposed to take from all of this.
Got it.
Okay.
Prophets are God's check on the priesthood.
Exactly. The prophets weren't against ritual itself, but against ritual divorced from justice.
Sure.
Or, fill in the blank
Or
with
meaning, or
goodness,
right.
or heart, or spirit,
Sure.
or, doing what you're supposed to do, being right with God.
Right.
Ultimately.
Yep.
A final note is that when we get to where we are now, you notice that going forward, the priests rise and the prophets fade. In post-exilic Judaism, priests, the human appointed leaders, gain more institutional power, especially under Ezra and Nehemiah, while the prophets, the God-appointed leaders, appear less frequently. By the time of the Second Temple, prophecy was seen as ceased or diminished. And this sets the stage for apocalyptic literature to emerge, like Daniel, filling that prophetic void with a new kind of visionary writing. And that's where we're ending today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I just thought that was like an interesting, because, we don't see prophets today. I mean, we see people that claim to be prophets left and right.
Sure.
But I think that for somebody to be accepted as a prophet, the entire faith would have to accept them as such.
Right. But obviously that wasn't always the case even back in the Old Testament, though. Because the priests were trying to kick them out. They had contention.
That is true.
And so these are just the texts that made it through. Whether for convenience on the other end of this or not is, something we'll never know, because history has lost who exactly wrote these and why they wrote them, and things like that. Most of the prophets' books that we read, while some of them may have been written by that person, much of the book is mixed in with stuff that was written much later, generally speaking.
That's true.
So were these prophets a matter of convenience to fix storylines, to rewrite the history of their God? I mean, that to me is what a lot of it seems like. Mm-hmm. And I don't really see them as holding any special sway in their time, other than they're a convenient story to fix what was going wrong as it was perceived later on. Yeah.
And then when we talk about prophets versus priests today, this is like Christianity land. So
right.
How does that even apply? I would think that with, Jesus or what the fuck ever being the way to God, that there's not a need for either priests or prophets.
Well, there's a lot of the far right, Christian nationalist church type things that are out there that perceive Christianity as being too leftist, right?
Yeah,
so they're calling out the
Jesus
priesthood.
Is too woke.
These people that are posing as quote unquote prophets are generally right leaning, preachers or whatever,
Yeah.
And so they're pitching themselves as this call out of traditional or modern Christianity, right?
Right.
And they're setting themselves up for this holy war between the far right and the left of the Christian. It's just it makes sense, because if you look at things from the Old Testament standpoint, that's exactly the image that they're going for. They're going for that fight against the ones that are going the wrong way, according to them.
Right.
I don't believe these people at all. And moreover, I think they're pitching terrible messages, because it's generally hate that they're pitching, mm-hmm. right? But that's why they're using the name. That's why they're calling themselves prophets, because they want to set themselves up as God talking to them, correcting what they perceive as wrong.
Right.
So
that makes sense. It's all bad and dumb, and I hate it.
Yes, indeed. As well as there are many other things in the world at the moment that are bad and dumb and wrong, and
Jesus
we could go on all night about that, but we're not going to. Hope everyone is safe out there, especially if you're listening out in California, or mm-hmm. If you're a House member in New Jersey. So either way,
to all our migrant friends, you know, if they're listening, or to all our LGBTQIA plus fans during the month, particularly of Pride.
Yes.
Happy Pride. And I know it's not a happy time, but particularly with the attack on trans people, we see you. You're not invisible. I am bi, and Kid is non-binary and identifies as they, them, and aromantic and asexual. So, like, we embrace and are part of the community and love all of you.
Yes. And it needs to be said right now.
It does. So that's why I tacked that on, because it does need to be acknowledged.
Yeah. Sorry for the lapse in episodes, everybody. We already explained we've had some things going on that we had to step away for a minute.
I'm home, though.
Yeah. So we're back. Hopefully we will make this. We'll be back again, hopefully tomorrow. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. Stay safe, guys.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.